Hello, candle lovers! Thank you for tuning in to me today. My name is Greg, and this is All Aboot Candles. Happy Sunday, everybody! On Sundays here at All Aboot Candles, I like to do the weekly wax wrap-up, and this is when I go through all of the candles that I have finished burning this week, talk a bit about how they smelled, how they performed, all of that good stuff. I've got some fairly new and notable things from Bath & Body Works that I finished. I've got banana cream latte. I've got Aurora here from the Disney Princess collection. Got a Goose Creek candle that we're gonna need to talk about. This freaking fig basket candle. So strange. I've also got something from Illume, and I've got some wax melts here from a company that I've never tried before. After I get through the candles, I usually go a little bit off topic. I've got a burning question that I really want to answer. We're going to get a little bit into some Goose Creek news and some Bath & Body Works news, and we need to do a recap of the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. The last episode was so ridiculous, you guys. So grab yourselves a snack, get comfy, and let's get right into it. Let's start things off with Aurora over here from Bath & Body Works, the Disney Princess collection. I think Bath & Body Works did such a better job with the packaging on these Disney Princess candles this time around. I mean, just a real world of improvement. What does this one say here? Dreams wait beyond the gates. Ooh, dreams wait beyond the gates. Yeah, really pretty wraparounds on this collection this time. And a really fun lid too, with a crown in the center there. Super, super cute. I ended up liking Aurora a lot more than I thought I would. When I originally smelled this candle in the store, I was like, that's very, very sweet. And it is very sweet, but I actually ended up really liking it. The scent notes on Aurora are soft rose petals, sandalwood dreams, and sparkling fairy dust. I feel like Bath & Body Works, you know, I feel like all of the candle companies, to be honest with you, could do a little bit better of a job describing their candles with their scent notes. I think the Yankee might be one of the biggest offenders of this. I mean, I just don't pick up on sandalwood in this fragrance. Like, sandalwood is a little bit of a creamier wood, and there's definitely like a creamier component to this fragrance, but I'm not getting the woodsiness of like a sandalwood, you know, kind of like a drier sort of woodsiness I don't pick up on in here. And then it also says sparkling fairy dust, which I think just means like raspberry and strawberry, because there's definitely an unlisted berry component to this fragrance. The rose petals make sense. Like, it's a fruity floral. I mean, another Disney Princess candle, another fruity floral. Like, it's nice, it's really sweet, it's really smooth. There's kind of like a smooth quality to this fragrance that reminds me just a little bit of pink lilac and vanilla. I'm not saying this smells like pink lilac and vanilla, but that candle has a really sort of sweet floral smoothness to it that I think is a little bit similar in Aurora here. The rose definitely comes across, like the predominant floral in here is definitely that rose note. And then I really pick up on maybe it's kind of like a strawberry raspberry like fruity combo, like a really smooth like fruity berryness to it. I like this fragrance. I don't think that it's super groundbreaking or unique, but you know, it's definitely got a little bit more of a personality to it than a lot of the fruity florals that we're getting from Bath & Body Works these days. There's something just really lovely and sweet and smooth that I enjoyed about Aurora quite a bit. You know, it's just a really lovely, smooth, fruity floral. I don't have any huge complaints. It's not one of those fragrances that, you know, I'm not dying to run out and repurchase it and get myself another one. But I have no problem really recommending this candle. I think this is a fragrance that would appeal to a lot of people. It's definitely on the sweeter side, but I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed burning it. And I actually found myself like reaching for it and wanting to burn it a lot more often than I initially thought I would. I burned it all the way down to the very bottom there. You can see a bit of a marking there. You see that line? That is when the candle started to give me some problems. So we're at about just less than half of the candle here, but a little bit more than 1/3 is when it started dudding out. And so, you know, and it also started getting just a little bit dark and swirly and murky. And so when it was dudding out, it just kind of sat where that line is for a really, really long time. And the discoloration in the wax just caused it to leave a mark there because the wax was just stuck at that level for such a long time. And I did end up having to remove a little bit of wax from this, which you know I absolutely hate to do. Like, that is a last resort for me to actually get in there and start messing around with the wax, but I just had to. And it actually helped. Like, it actually helped get it to the point where the entire sort of like last 3/4 of an inch completely liquefied, and then it was going for it, and it was giving me some strength and throw, and that last burn on there actually ended up being pretty good, and I just let it burn and burn and burn and burn until it extinguished itself. In fact, you can see that like 2 of these wicks just called it a day. A little bit before, this one last wick on the top here just kept going for a little bit longer, and that is when I called it a day. She was about a 6, maybe more of a like 5.5 situation on the strength and throw for Aurora in my more open area. Maybe like definitely noticeable, but a little bit on the lighter side. I'd say like a 5 or a 5.5. I did put it in the bedroom there, and I could say that in the bedroom, Aurora was probably getting up to a 6, like just hitting that 6 mark. So definitely had a presence. I could tell that she was there. Aurora's here. I could tell that she was there. Not a repurchase for me, I don't think. But I think that a lot of people will really like this. I think a lot of girls are really gonna like the body care for this Aurora fragrance. And yeah, I liked that. To me, this one kind of stands out. Even though it wasn't my favorite out of the new Disney princesses, like I think that Mulan is probably my favorite, and Rapunzel might be my second favorite. So even though it wasn't really my favorite fragrance from the Disney Princess collection, this one kind of stood out to me a little bit more than the others. And like I said, I found myself reaching for it quite a little bit more often than I thought I would. So yeah, overall, I enjoyed Aurora. I enjoyed burning her once, not burning her candle. I enjoyed burning the Aurora candle quite a bit. I really love florals that have like a super kind of smooth sweetness to them. Like I said earlier, like that pink lilac and vanilla candle, which I'm like drowning myself in right now. Last night I was burning pink lilac and vanilla and blushing lilac and vanilla from Goose Creek. I just love those types of like creamy, smooth vanilla florals. And Aurora kind of like fit in nicely with some of the other stuff that I've been burning recently. Okay, let's talk about Banana Cream Latte from Bath and Body Works. I finished this one off, guys. I really do like the packaging on this collection. It kind of reminds me of like the tile that you might find at like the bottom of a pool at like a resort in Mexico or something like that. And there was also kind of like this texture to the candle. And when it was burning and it was glowing, there was almost sort of like a basket weave pattern to this. Yeah, I think they did a really great job with this collection. I think they look nice and summery and like bright and fun. Yeah, and I'm also burning a couple other candles from this collection. I love Warm Ocean Breeze. Oh, what's the other one that I've got going right now? Is it Warm Summer Evening or something Summer Evening? I've burned that one once and I like it. Warm Ocean Breeze is gonna have to wait a little bit longer until it's like really summertime. Anyways, whatever, I'm going so off topic here. Banana Cream Latte. When I initially hauled this candle and talked about it in my haul video, I compared it to Main Street Bakery. And I still stand by the fact that this is a pretty similar fragrance to Main Street Bakery. And I actually went back to like rewatch that video to really get to the bottom of what exactly it was that I said, because I ended up causing a little bit of a controversy with a whole bunch of people really disagreeing with me that Banana Cream Latte is similar to Main Street Bakery. So I rewatched my video. I never like said it was like a repackage or anything. I just said it was very similar, and I stand by that. Maybe I just didn't articulate myself enough, but you know, it's funny, like when you're doing a YouTube channel about a topic like this, like something that can be very subjective, every now and then you just will, for whatever reason, strike a nerve with people. I don't know if just a lot of like really hardcore Main Street Bakery fans like kind of came out of the woodwork. I actually got an email from someone, like kind of a nasty toned email, just like I completely disagree. Like banana cream latte is nothing like Main Street Bakery. Like I don't know what planet you're living on. I didn't even respond to this email. I'm just like, okay guys, let's calm down. It's a candle. And so I rewatched my candle haul video when I was talking about this, and I stand by everything that I said. Maybe I could have articulated myself a little bit better and clarified that I did not think that this was a repackage, but what I said is that it's quite similar, and it is quite similar. And what it is the banana note. The banana note in here is very similar to the banana note in Main Street Bakery. It's kind of like a little bit of a warm banana note. It's like a warmer, kind of deeper banana note, right? Whereas if we were to think of a candle like Under the Sun from Bath & Body Works, which is a very like banana forward fragrance, that the banana note in Under the Sun is like a bit of a brighter, like juicier, more summery banana note. Whereas banana cream latte and Main Street Bakery have kind of a warmer, darker, richer banana note. And I really feel like the banana note in Main Street Bakery is very similar to the banana note here in banana cream latte. The differences being that Main Street Bakery has that sort of bakery, bready, kind of almost starchy component to it because it's a bakery candle. So it's got that banana note with like that bakery component. And banana cream latte has that banana note, but with kind of a milky, like creaminess to it. Like a milky vanilla creaminess. Now the scent notes on here say whipped banana, smooth espresso, and frothy sweet cream. And banana, absolutely. Frothy sweet cream, absolutely. We needed more coffee in this candle. Like, am I crazy here? I'm barely picking up on any coffee at all. Maybe just the faintest little whisper of coffee, but it's called banana cream latte. And then they double down, and in the scent notes, they say espresso. Like, to me, an espresso note should really be prominent and standing out. Like, an espresso note is something you should really be able to pick up on quite easily. And to me, this just smells like bananas and cream. In fact, it smells like a lollipop that I used to have all the time as a kid that was like a bananas and cream lollipop. It doesn't smell so much really like, you know, that banana medicine a lot of us had to take when we were kids. To me, it comes across more like a banana and cream, like confectionery candy, with maybe just like the faintest whisper of like a bit of a coffee note. But when I was burning it, I don't think I was picking up on a coffee note in this at all. So I do think that this candle is a little bit misleading, both in the name of the fragrance and in the scent notes. This is bananas and cream. Now, all of that being said, I enjoyed it. I thought it was nice. Not really gonna be a repurchase for me, but the candle did perform fairly nicely. I mean, I burned it all the way down to the very bottom there. A really, really nice, clean burn. There were some of the burns at the halfway point that struggled a little bit, but it wasn't so bad that it concerned me. I would just let it ride out, and it eventually kind of fixed itself. And it actually ended up finishing very, very strongly. And I would say that the strength and throw on this was probably a pretty solid 6 in my more open space. It was quite noticeable. I could definitely tell that it was there. And in the bedroom, easily getting up to a 6.5, maybe even a 7. Like, it definitely had a presence to it. So I would say that overall, banana cream latte, it should just be called banana cream. But it was a decent candle and a decent fragrance, and I enjoyed it. I had high hopes for Shoreline Hydrangea, my friends. Ever since we heard that it was coming and I saw the scent notes and the packaging, I was very excited. Like, I'd say quite possibly my favorite like types of candle fragrances are like beachy floral fragrances. I mean, anything beachy I really love, but I especially love like a beachy ocean air briny fragrance with a little bit of a floral in there. So I was really looking forward to Shoreline Hydrangea. I think the packaging is lovely. It's got this sort of painterly, like watercolored wraparound label. Really gorgeous. Like those hydrangeas just look absolutely gorgeous. I think these hydrangeas look a lot prettier than hydrangeas do in real life. I can't say I'm a big fan of hydrangeas. I think they smell lovely. I don't think they look that lovely. And we all know, look, I'm actually wearing a Madonna t-shirt today. We all know that interview with Madonna where she didn't realize she was mic'd up. Somebody gave Madonna like a big bouquet of hydrangea flowers, and I don't think she realized that it was a hot mic. And after the person kind of left, Madonna was like, I absolutely loathe hydrangeas. The queen. Anyways, Shoreline Hydrangea, nice fragrance, super disappointing performance. The scent notes on here are dewy hydrangea petals, salty air, and cedarwood. I've said this before, I feel like Bath & Body Works, they're putting woodsy notes in their scent notes for candles that don't have woodsy notes. Like, just talking about the sandalwood note in Aurora over here. Well, apparently we're supposed to be picking up on cedarwood in this. And I really don't. This is just kind of like a salty, beachy floral fragrance. And the fragrance itself is really quite lovely. It's kind of a soft floral. It's like a soft, like semi-sweet floral, and there definitely is that sort of briny, like oceanic quality to the fragrance that I absolutely love. And on cold, this candle should be like a slam dunk for me. I thought I was gonna be backing this up and repurchasing it, but it just didn't perform very well. The strength and throw was really not good. Really not good. I mean, I burned this all the way down till there was nothing left. As you can see, like those 2 wicks called it a day before that top wick did. I burned it until there was nothing left to burn. And I will say that once I had like 3/4 of an inch of like liquefied wax on the bottom, finishing this candle up, that was when it got to its strongest point, which was probably in my more open space, like a 5. So I could finally like really kind of detect it on that last burn. But up until then, the strength and throw was quite disappointing. It was very lost in my more open space. I'd say it was giving me like maybe a 3.5 or a 4 in my more open space. I would put it in the bedroom where it was just touching a 5. I could put it in the bedroom, and when I walked in there, I could just detect that it was there, but I had to move fairly close to the candle to really be able to pick up on the nuance and the loveliness of the fragrance. I actually put this in the bathroom a couple of nights when I had guests over, and then I took this candle to a hotel with me when I was on a work trip, and I burned it in like, I'd say it was like a medium-sized hotel room. It was maybe getting up to like, it's like a 5 in there. I could tell it was burning, but overall just not enough. I need my candles to at least be giving me like, I mean, I consider 5 a passing grade. For me, a 5 in a certain space means that it's like there's a base level of presence and I can detect that it was there. But my real sweet spot is a 7. And for me to be happy, I feel like I need like a 6, you know? And this just really fell short of that. And it's such a shame because it's a really lovely fragrance that I should absolutely love. I mean, I've got a feeling that we might see this kicking around, you know, at like semi-annual sale. Like if I could get a really good deal on another one of these, I think I would consider repurchasing it, but just to put under a candle lamp or in a candle crock. I feel like you might get a little bit more out of this if you were just like melting it. Oh, what a bummer though. Like, it really is lovely. It really is lovely. It's certainly not like groundbreaking. I mean, my very favorite like oceanic floral from Bath and Body Works is that You, Me, and the Sea candle. I talk about that candle all the time. I really wish that it would come back. It was like part of the Black History Month collection. And for me, this candle, You, Me, and the Sea, just like lightning in a bottle. Just the perfect balance of like a salty ocean air, ocean water quality mixed with a lovely like soft blue floral. Oh, I loved You, Me, and the Sea. Why couldn't we just get that one back instead of Shoreline Hydrangea? I honestly feel like you could just repackage You, Me, and the Sea and call it Shoreline Hydrangea. Whatever. That was a disappointment, folks. But like I said, maybe it would do a little bit better melting. Such a pretty package too. It really looks like somebody sat down and did a watercolor painting. In fact, in this room, I have some watercolor paintings up that my great aunt in England was like a watercolor painter, and she would paint a lot of coastlines off of the coast of like various England shores. And when she passed away, I got my hands on a whole bunch of her like old watercolor paintings, and I just absolutely adore them. It's like some of my favorite artwork that I have hanging up in my house. A little bit more interesting than my vinyl record wall here that goes on forever. Oh, what a bummer, Shoreline Hydrangea. What a bummer. Speaking of weak candles from Bath and Body Works, let's talk about Vanilla Bean. I finished off a couple Vanilla Beans recently, and I fully bought both of these candles with the intention of always burning them at the same time so that I could actually smell them. Because here's the thing, I actually really like the Vanilla Bean fragrance. It's like a really lovely, like soft, light, kind of creamy, sweet, bright vanilla fragrance. And so I actually really like the fragrance, but this candle has always just been so weak. I think that this looks lovely. I love the packaging. I love these White Barn spring summer candles. I picked up quite a few of them. I got a lot of like eucalyptus rain from this collection. Really lovely like colored glass with just a pretty simple label in the middle there and a colored lid to match. And then I also picked this one up. This was on Candle Day this year. They called it like the Gingham Essentials, right? So they repackaged limoncello and just called it lemon, and they repackaged French lavender and just called it lavender, and they've been doing this for like the last couple of candle days now, and this one's just called vanilla, and it's a repackage of Vanilla Bean. Yeah, Gingham Nation Essentials. I think that I like the White Barn packaging more, to be honest with you. And I also think that I switched the lid here. I changed hats. As my subscriber, Candles Make Me Happy, she calls it, when she switches up the lids on her candles, she calls it changing hats. And girl, consider that phrase stolen. I think I've said that in like every weekly wax wrap up that I've recorded since then. This originally came with one of those like brushed like metallic lids on it. And I'm just so over those boring metallic lids all the time from Bath and Body Works. I've been switching them out. It's funny because a lot of people will save, you know, those big fancy lids that you get from like the Halloween candles and the Easter Bunny lids and all of the big crazy fancy lids that you get that, you know, they charge us $44 per candle for. But the lids that I want to hang on to are just the plain colored lids. Just a plain blue lid, a plain red lid, because those are the ones that, you know, you can really change the hats up a little bit and get something a little more interesting. But anyways, yeah, so we've got this vanilla candle here that came out on Candle Day. Both of these candles, I don't think that they changed the formula between these two releases. They performed very similarly. They burned very similarly. The scent notes on Vanilla Bean are Madagascar Vanilla Bean, homemade marshmallow, and warm cinnamon nutmeg. You know, sometimes folks, just the most simple thing is sometimes the best thing. And you guys know that I will hoe myself out for a good vanilla candle, a good vanilla fragrance. I'm just a little bit basic that way. I absolutely love just a straightforward vanilla fragrance. I think that Goose Creek does really excellent vanillas, actually. For a long time now, most of the vanilla candles that we get from Bath & Body Works are really quite weak, including this one, but it's a lovely vanilla bean note, and it's, like I said, sort of a bright, like semi-sweet, kind of airy, fluffy vanilla note. One of the scent notes on here is cinnamon nutmeg, and I've never really picked up that much on the cinnamon or the nutmeg. Maybe just, I mean, I really don't think I pick up on cinnamon, but maybe just like the faintest little whisper of some nutmeg. But that Madagascar vanilla bean and homemade marshmallow note really hit. I really think this is a super simple but really, really lovely vanilla bean fragrance. And I just wish that they would formulate this candle so that it actually had some strength and throw. Both of these candles performed much better than that ceramic candle did. Yes, once they finally started including those ceramic candles in the candle sales, I picked up the Mahogany Teakwood Intense and I picked up the Vanilla Bean in that beautiful ceramic jar. But man, that candle was a struggle. Like, you could not let it burn for longer than an hour or an hour and a half. It would just be sooting up. You guys can even search my channel, and I included that ceramic Vanilla Bean candle in a weekly wax wrap-up, and I showed you just how black and sooty that ceramic jar had become. And this ceramic version had extremely thick wicks, like the thickest wicks that I think I've seen on a Bath & Body Works candle for a while. And it also had sort of a slightly kind of like creamy colored wax on it. But look at those crazy wicks. And I mean, look at all of this soot that ended up on by the time that I finished that candle. And it got so hot. I'm almost a little bit nervous now to burn that ceramic Mahogany Teakwood candle because the jar just got so hot. You really couldn't burn it for a long time. You had to be extremely careful handling it and putting the candle out. And yeah, I mean, the vessel just created like way too much heat. Anyways, but both of these versions performed a lot better than that ceramic candle did. You know, burned both of them all the way down until there was nothing left. You know, I don't even think that I bothered burning these separately so that I could report to you on what the strength and throw was like. When I was burning both of these in my more open space, I would have one on the coffee table and I'd have the other one probably about 15 feet away from it on one of my end tables. And I'd say that in that more open area, both of these candles got up to like a 5. Probably about a 5. So it was noticeable. I could tell that the fragrance was there. But then I mostly ended up burning these in my bedroom, which is a smaller space with slightly lower ceilings. When I was burning both of them in my bedroom, it was maybe just touching a 6 for strength and throw. Maybe just touching a 6. There was a presence there. I could detect the scent, but it still really wasn't quite as strong as I would have liked for it to have been. And I mean, I'm definitely not gonna start burning 3 of these candles at a time. So I don't know. I still do love this fragrance though. Like, you know, especially if like a semi-annual sale happens, like if they're trying to clearance off the spring summer White Barn jars, I might get 2 more. I might. I love vanilla fragrances, and I do think that this is a nice one. I always say, for me, vanilla fragrances are kind of like pizza or sex. Like, some are better than others, but it's all good. I've got a feeling that if I were to just burn one of these in my more open space, I'd be saying it was about a 3 for strength and throw. If I was just burning one of these in the bedroom, maybe like a 4 for strength and throw. This has just always been one of those Bath & Body Works candles that I think is a lovely fragrance, but just not strong enough. It's never been strong enough. Anyways, yeah, that is Vanilla Bean, my friends. Moving on, I've got to talk to you about this fig basket candle. I've talked about it a couple of times. What I got was not fig basket, and it also ended up being a terrible burn. I haven't even finished it. There's like this much left on here. It got pretty dark and swirly and murky and just wasn't burning very well. It was not the fragrance that I thought that it was going to be. I'm convinced that they screwed this up. In fact, we're going to talk about Palo Santo from Bath & Body Works a little bit later on, because it turns out that new Palo Santo candle that BBW put out, they actually, in the States, they poured Palo Santo and sage into all of those vessels, and it's been a little bit of an uproar. Well, this is supposed to be fig basket. The scent notes on it are supposed to be juicy fig, dark berries, green leaves, and white woods. That is not what this is. This was absolutely poured incorrectly. What I think that this is someone told me, like, I've been talking about this drama for quite a while, a candle called Garden House from Goose Creek. And Garden House also came out when this candle came out in the same collection, like very similar packaging. And the scent notes on Garden House are sweet mandarin, garden cilantro, fresh parsley, and tomato leaf. And that's what this is, 100%. Like, I don't really think I'm picking up on mandarin all that much, although there is a little bit of a sweetness in there. But this smells like cilantro, parsley, and tomato to me. Like, even Steve, when I got my Goose Creek haul in, I recorded the video for my haul with Steve. In fact, I'll just roll the tape of what our first impressions were of Fig Basket. So a brand new fragrance from Goose Creek this spring, and it is called Fig Basket.
Juicy fig, dark berries, green leaves, and white woods.
Ooh, I've got high hopes for this one. Tell me what you think, yeah.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
No, I don't think I like this one.
No?
It's got like a...
Oh, I don't like it either.
Yeah.
Oh, this is disappointing.
I don't even know what it smells like.
This smells like tomato to me.
Yeah, it's
Does it
like
smell like
starchy, like not...
Does it smell like tomato?
Savory almost.
Yeah, it smells savory.
It smells like you just ripped out some plants out of the ground.
It's weird. It's like, this does not smell at all like fig to me, you guys. What are the scent notes again? Juicy fig, I don't get.
No.
Dark berries, I don't
Not
get.
at all.
Green leaves and white woods.
Maybe green leaves.
Yeah, so
Maybe that's
it's a very like herbal, green, like lush green candle.
Mm.
There's like, honestly, it reminds me a little bit of that tomato candle that we got from Bath & Body Works off the vine. Like, there might be a little bit of like a stern sort of floral in there, like a geranium or a carnation, and then like kind of a funky herbaceousness and a lot of like greenery, like leaves, right? But I am not picking up on anything like dark and fruity or fig-like really at all. Like none. I swear I'm getting tomato.
It does smell like tomato.
Okay.
It smells like, picture you're in a garden and you're ripping tomatoes out of a plant.
Yeah.
That's what it smells like.
Yeah. Yeah, we were really, really stumped. And, you know, shout out to Charity Rose. She's got a great channel that you guys should follow. She left me a comment and she said, it sounds like what you actually got was this Garden House candle. Now, there were some people in my comments that also think that they got the wrong fragrance here. But then there were also some people that got the correct fragrance. I think that Tracy from 3-Wick Thesis actually ended up with like the Fig Basket fragrance, and a couple other people told me they did too. But there were some people telling me that their version was also smelling the same as mine. Doesn't smell like figs at all. You know, like a berry fig fragrance. There's absolutely no way I'm confusing it with this like savory, like herby, like garden tomato candle. There's just no way that this was Fig Basket. And so I emailed Goose Creek and told them my conundrum, and I didn't even want a refund. all that I wanted was for them to confirm, yes, it definitely seems like we've gotten the feedback. It definitely seems like we poured the wrong candle, but they didn't give me that validation. They just emailed me back with a very lovely but very generically worded, we understand that not all customers are gonna smell, their expectations might be let down when they actually smell what a fragrance smells like, and we're gonna offer you a refund. So I appreciate that Goose Creek gave me the refund, but more than the $15, what I really wanted was some vindication that they screwed this one up, because man, I was looking forward to that fig fragrance. I love fig fragrances, like dark, jammy, like fruity fragrances. And instead, this smells like I've been put to work in the tomato patch, you know? And honestly, here's the thing, is that I don't dislike the fragrance. You know, I didn't actually go to purchase that like garden house candle, so I didn't want it that badly, but I actually don't hate this. It is a little bit similar to something kind of like Off the Vine from Bath and Body Works. It's not horrible. But on top of all of that, and I was burning it, it wasn't giving off great strength and throw, which is rare for Goose Creek. Like in my more open space, this was probably getting up to a 5. What I was picking up on the most was kind of like the parsley, like the herbs and the tomato in here is what I picked up on the most, but it was probably only doing about a 5 for strength and throw in my more open space. And when I was burning it on this last burn here, it hadn't even been burning for really all that long. And I took a look at it after perhaps an hour, and the wax had just become very like dark and swirly and murky. And I'm just like, you know what? I'm calling it a day. I defeated, white flag. I'm over it. I'm sick of feeling like this candle is gaslighting me. So, you know, even if I were to just critique this candle, assuming that it's that garden house candle, not great performance, not great strength and throw, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, just decided to go really dark on me. And it doesn't look as bad now as it did when the wax was melted, but let me tell you that when the wax was melted in a pool, it looked very black and dark and swirly and ominous and not good at all. Let's get our act together, everybody. And I'm talking to everybody. I'm talking to Bath and Body Works. I'm talking to Goose Creek. I'm talking to Yankee Candle. I'm talking to you, Kringle, with your low strength and throw. I'm talking to you, Homeworks, with your low strength and throw. Like, let's get it together, people. Bath and Body Works just sent out thousands of candles to hundreds of locations with Palo Santo and sage put in a Palo Santo vessel. Like, how does nobody catch that? Does nobody work there? And like, is there no quality control? No one is smelling this candle like after it's poured? No, don't they do a burn test on it? Do the people that are doing the burn tests know what the candles are supposed to smell like? Is anybody home? Is anybody out there? Okay, moving on to better news. Here's a candle that I really love. This is probably like the 3rd time that I've burned this candle. I believe I have a full-length review out for it. I've talked about it before. This is a candle from Illume called Isla Lily. And it's just a really, really gorgeous fragrance. I really like Illume. And Illume do all different kinds of like sizes and formats and packaging. But this is the format that I've kind of decided that I like the most from them. They've got really, really a pretty sort of label on the outer side here. And then this entire part comes off, this big lid. And then on the inside, you have sort of like this abstract kind of painterly design on the inside. And I just think that these candles always look so chic and so nice. It's like a tin candle. And I'm not usually a huge fan of like tin candles because they don't really illuminate. They don't cast a really nice glow, but these are just so pretty. Yeah, and so I like this format the most from Illume for a couple of reasons. One of them being that I think that it's like the best bang for your buck. Some of their bigger candles get very expensive. I do tend to get reasonable strength and throw from this candle. It's actually 11.8 ounces, so it's 12 ounces. So it's actually almost the size of a Bath and Body Works candle. However, it's a single wick. right? And so you do need to give this candle a lot of time to pool out. This format from Illume, you know, you want to be making sure that you're kind of planning things out and you're not going to be leaving the house in an hour, because not only the first burn, but the subsequent burns on here definitely take at least an hour to fully pool out. But once it does fully pool out, you've got a pretty decent diameter on here. And so when you do get a good wax pool going, the strength and throw is actually not bad. And by not bad, I mean, I usually put these Illume candles in a hurricane and I usually burn them in a smaller space, usually the bedroom. And in fact, this one spent most of its time in the bedroom. Now, the scent notes on Isla Lily, it says, grounded in an earthy amber glow with a heart of summery sea kissed with lily dew. And yeah, it's 11.8 ounces and it just says it's a plant-based wax. This is so lovely. It's just, I think Illume does fantastic floral fragrances. And this is one of my favorites. My very favorite Illume fragrance is probably Coconut Milk Mango. And I love coconut fragrances, but I'm not huge on like mango fragrances. I have not found a mango fragrance that I like more than the Coconut Milk Mango from Illume. It is just so creamy and divine and smooth. And this is really creamy and divine and smooth too, this Isla Lily. It's so lovely. There is a bit of an amber note in here, but it's not like a super brassy, like kind of rich and sweet amber note. It's a little bit more of kind of like a medium to a light amber note. And then there's a C note in here. There's a little bit of brininess, a little bit of an aquatic sort of salty vibe. But that floral note in here is just lovely. That lily note. It's a very creamy like floral note. And usually I don't associate like lily as being a super creamy floral, but there's definitely a very creamy component to this candle. And the lily note, it's sort of soft, and I'd say it's fairly soft and kind of like a medium sweet lily note. And it's just lovely because it's got that, a lily I always associate as well as being a little bit more of an aquatic type of floral. And so it's just perfect. Like there's a bit of a creaminess, there's a little bit of a glowy sort of vibe coming from that amber note, and then this lovely kind of aquatic, semi-sweet, soft floral note. Just absolutely lovely. It just, oh, I could just sit here and smell this candle all day long. In fact, I love some of these Illume fragrances so much that even once I'm done with the candle, sometimes I'll just keep the jar around for a little while. I'll like keep it in my candle closet just so that I can pull it out and smell it once in a while. Crazy candle lady right over here, guys. Crazy candle lady. Yeah, I love Isla Lily from Illume. Anyways, you know, you got to manage your expectations with like 100% plant-based wax and a single wick candle, but these do okay. Now, under my conditions, I would not really try burning this in my more open space. I suspect it would be fairly lost. But in the small bathroom or in my bedroom. In my bedroom, I'll put it in a hurricane, and it's probably getting up to a 5.5 or a 6 in there, maybe just touching on a 6, but I'll take it. It's just such a lovely fragrance, and it's really a lovely bedroom fragrance as well. And so, you know, if I put it in the right spot in the bedroom, in a hurricane, after it's been going for about an hour, you really do start to pick up on it, and it's lovely. And I also put this in the small bathroom a couple of times when I had guests over, and I still keep it in a hurricane, even when it's in like the small bathroom, getting up to easily like a 6 or a 6.5 in there, very noticeable. One of my girlfriends, Malia, she even said like, that's a lovely candle. She's like, that's not Bath and Body Works either. Like, where is that from? Like, I had to tell her all about Illume and how you can get them on Amazon. And if you're really lucky, you might find these at a Winners or a Marshalls or a HomeSense. This one I think I got off of Amazon and it was like $24.99. So yeah, a little bit more than I would usually spend for, you know, like a single wick candle like this, but For me, it's worth it because I had already burned it before. I knew that it wouldn't be like a big disappointment. So yeah, I treated myself to that one. I just love this candle. And you know, there is more to life than Bath and Body Works and Goose Creek and Kringle and Homeworks. You know, like some of these little brands like Illume, they just have some absolutely lovely, lovely fragrances. And I just love this Isla Lily. It's so good. All right, let's move on. I've rambled enough about that one. Oh, but I also do need to show you really nice clean burn. Like look out the sides of that jar here. Like barely any discoloration at all. The wax at the very end there did get a little bit discolored, but I mean, I burned this all the way down until it extinguished itself. Like there is nothing left in there. So yeah, really lovely, nice, clean, fairly soot-free burn on here. The hurricane that I had it burning in, the entire time I was burning this candle, I always clean my hurricanes out in between uses with like some paper towel and some Windex, and you can kind of always catch, you know, if it dirtied the hurricane at all. Definitely comes to light when you're Windexing it down with like a white paper towel, and there wasn't really any soot or residue left from this candle in the hurricane either. So yeah, happy about that. I also picked up these wax melts. This is super random, you guys. I was in Banff with the boyfriend, and we went into one of those gift shops. Went into one of those gift shops where they have like a $300 hoodie with like a giant picture of a moose on it. You know, they've got like a box full of like crystals, like big quartz crystals for like $100, like one of those types of gift shops. And they did have a little sort of like candle and wax melt area with a whole bunch of candles from small companies that I had never heard of before, but really small ones that didn't smell all that strong. But they also had a bunch of wax melts from this company, and it looks like the company is called Score Candle. Score Candle, proudly Canadian. This bag certainly looks like it's seen better days, especially considering I've only been hanging on to this for a couple of weeks. It says pure soy, pure joy, Score Candle, proudly Canadian, 21 heavily scented soy dots. It says here, your favorite wax warmer. For the benefit of the environment and health of your family, we package our new soy dots in rice packages, reducing harmful plastic waste. Oh, so that's good to know. I think I could just put this package in the compost instead of the garbage. Only the highest quality ingredients are used in our 100% renewable soy wax scented dots. They come in a variety of captivating fragrances and can be used in your favorite wax warmer. We know you'll love them. Now, because of the way that these bags were sealed, I couldn't smell them in the store to tell if I was gonna like the fragrance or not. And so I went with the safest bet, which is a vanilla cream fragrance. Be very surprised if I end up hating a fragrance that's called vanilla cream. And I was really impressed with how lovely this was. It's really rich. Like, it doesn't have like a bakery cake, like gourmand component to it. It's a very, very rich vanilla bean though. I'd say it's kind of bordering on like a French vanilla. I feel like a French vanilla, a little bit of a warmer, like richer vanilla, kind of bordering on a bit of a bakery note. It almost goes there, but it doesn't quite go fully there. It's more of like a rich, kind of lower ranging vanilla bean fragrance. It's really lovely. I've got 3 of the dots left in here, but I've been melting it in this vessel for quite a while. I love waxing my melts. I just love waxing my melts, you guys. I wax my melts all day long. Oh, look at this thing falling apart on me here. It's it's soy wax, obviously, right? So it's very, very fragile. Yeah, I sucked all of the fragrance out of here. I only ever melt wax by putting them in empty candle vessels and putting them under a heat lamp somewhere, because I have like 3 candle lamps set up throughout my house. So, and I don't want to also add like wax warmers into the mix everywhere. It just feels like it would be a bit much. And so I just like to wax melt I just like to wax melts. I'm losing it, folks. It's very early in the morning over here. At least for me, this is very early in the morning. It's almost 9 o'clock a.m. Yeah, I just like to melt wax melts in an empty 3-wick candle vessel underneath a heat lamp. That's my way of doing it. And these, the strength and throw is good. I put about 3 of these in at a time, and that's why I've got 3 left in here, because I would do like 3 at a time, right? And I'd say that the first 2 hours of melting these, they would probably get up to about a 6 for strength and throw. Definitely had a presence to it. In the kitchen, it was easily getting to a 6. The candle warmer in my bedroom, probably about a 6 as well. In the more open space, definitely getting a little bit more lost, maybe like a 5 for strength and throw. The downside is that they really only lasted for 2 hours. I think that has to do with, 100% soy wax, tends to sort of release all that fragrance like all at once. Once the wax starts to melt, like it gets released and it really doesn't last very long. So I'd say I got about 3 of these dots would give me about 2 hours of like decent strength and throw. And then it would fade like remarkably quickly, like very, very quickly it would fade. But it was a lovely fragrance for a couple of hours. I mean, that's not terrible. This pouch was only $19.99. I think it was probably one of the cheapest things in that entire gift shop. So $20, doing 3 of the dots at the time, I'm pretty happy with them. If I ever do happen to venture into this gift shop again, I might actually try another fragrance from this company. They were lovely. They were really, really lovely. Yeah, Score Candle. Proudly Canadian. It says, they're made in Barrie, Ontario. Interesting. Never been to Barrie, Ontario before. Shout out, Barrie, Ontario. How you doing? All right. So that's all I've got in terms of candles this week. And I know that wasn't a lot. And in fact, I really kind of had to scrape and scrounge to get some candles together for the weekly wax wrap up this week, which is why I decided this week to talk about this fig basket candle. Otherwise, I would have had no Goose Creek candles to talk about. I was out of town all week, almost the entirety of the week. I was out of town for a work trip. And so when I'm out of town, I just don't go through as many candles as I usually do. I brought Aurora and banana cream, and I brought the Illume candle with me and was burning those and finishing those ones up in my hotel. I tend to bring candles on trips with me when there's not a ton of them left so that they don't weigh down my suitcase too much. I have had to pay like the overweight baggage fee more times than I really care to think about. So I brought some candles on this trip with me that I thought I'd be able to finish off in the hotel rooms, and that ended up working out really well. And then when I got home, I was very strategic about, I had this much left in Shoreline Hydrangea, and I had about an inch left in both of those vanilla bean candles, so I burned those over the last couple of nights and managed to like scrounge some candles together to talk about in the weekly wax wrap up this week. Most of the time I work from home, right? And if I have a week in particular where I'm not running around to a bunch of meetings, I'm working from home a lot, and I can just burn and burn and burn all day long. I open up all of the windows, air out my place a couple of times a day, and just burn and burn and burn and burn. And that's why sometimes I'll have like 9-10 candles to share in the weekly wax wrap up, but not this week, folks. A little bit of a shorter one for you, but we do have other things to talk about. I kind of already talked a lot about this the Palo Santo gate situation at Bath and Body Works. I posted a spring candle haul from Bath and Body Works yesterday. I didn't get all of the new candles out there, but I got several of them. So if you're interested, you can check out my candle haul from Bath and Body Works. I will link to it below. Nothing super fantastic, to be honest with you, with this sort of, I think this is the last kind of wave of lots of like spring stuff that we're gonna be getting. What I was most excited for was just getting pink, lilac, and vanilla, and this Palo Santo candle in packaging that was just really simple and chic and contemporary. I bought like 5 of each of those candles. But Palo Santo, apparently everybody in the States is getting Palo Santo and sage in their Palo Santo candle. I can confirm that up here in Canada, we are getting the OG Palo Santo scent in these candles. And I do actually know a couple Bath & Body Works managers have told me before that all of the candles that get sold at the Bath & Body Works up here in Canada, they are actually manufactured at a factory that's here in Canada. And they are manufactured slightly differently, mostly when it comes to the packaging and the labels, because up here in Canada on the big front-facing labels will have both English and French, and then on the bottom we'll have several different languages on the bottom of the Bath & Body Works candles here. So they are made in different factories, and my guess is that all over Canada we're probably getting the correct regular Palo Santo fragrance, but it sounds like all of the Palo Santo candles down in the States went out with Palo Santo and sage being poured into them. And like, I just have to say, that's like a pretty big blunder, Bath & Body Works. Like, how does that happen? How does that even happen? I mean, I get it. Both of the fragrances have the words Palo Santo in them. So I guess, they're not even really that similar. Like Palo Santo and sage is a very sort of like bright, almost kind of brassy, like herby, woodsy candle. Whereas the OG Palo Santo, which is my favorite. I love all the Palo Santos from BBW, but the OG Palo Santo is my favorite. And it's this really deep, like rich, robust, woodsy note. I don't know how you get that confused with Palo Santo and sage. And not only that, but you manufacture probably thousands and thousands of the wrong candle, and then they get sent out to hundreds and hundreds of locations throughout the States. Nobody notices. Nobody notices. Nobody is smelling these candles after they've been poured. No, you guys, I know that it's like, generally, it's like a candle company's practice to do several like burn tests on a candle before they get sent out. I would assume that Bath & Body Works is doing this. Like, who is quality controlling up there? How does a mistake on this level happen? I mean, it's going to be costing them. I'm sure some people have told me that they're recalling all of the candles. Some people are telling me that they're still seeing them on the shelves. One way or another, this is a pretty expensive mistake, Bath & Body Works. Like, get your act together. How does that even happen? Like, they're not even that similar a fragrance, So strange. And a lot of people are really disappointed too, because we've been getting Palo Santo and sage quite a lot, and Palo Santo and sage just came out in that like ugly, like glass rectangular labeled packaging. So like a lot of people were really looking forward to having the OG Palo Santo in that packaging, and they've gone and screwed that up. And sweet tea and lemonade, I want to give a shout out. A lot of people are pretty pressed. A lot of people from the southern states are pretty pressed at this sweet tea and lemonade candle for showing that hot kettle that hot kettle situation. And a couple of my subscribers, shout out to Laura and Cecilia, like really up in arms. Like, that is not how you brew a real southern sweet tea. That's not how you do it with a kettle, folks. So funny. It's so funny what we get up in arms about, people sending me nasty emails about banana cream latte. We're having emotional breakdowns over Palo Santo. The sweet tea, that picture of the sweet tea and lemonade candle is just completely historically inaccurate, folks. Let's get it together. It's nice to be able to worry about the small problems in life once in a while, folks. Don't you think, with like the state that this world is in right now? Sometimes you don't need to fry a big fish. I always say Delta Work from one of my favorite like YouTube shows, one of my favorite podcasts, very Delta. Delta Work always says that her podcast is not about frying the big fish. She's not qualified to solve the war in Iran and this and that and the other. The podcast and this candle channel, we're all about frying the small fish here, folks. These are life's luxury problems, you know? Okay, I wanted to go through some Goose Creek. They've got a whole bunch of new ice cream candles out right now that I'm sure a lot of people are very interested in, and the packaging looks good. The packaging is very colorful, very bright, very summery. The packaging shows off like a big scoop of ice cream in the center, and then a whole bunch of ice cream cones sort of like on the wraparound labels. They look super cute. One of them is cereal ice cream bar with scent notes of lemon lime zest, sugary berry cereal, and vanilla ice cream. Hard pass for me. Another one is called ice cream truck, milk chocolate, whipped vanilla bean, and warm sugar cone. We've got a pistachio ice cream that I might be able to get into. Creamy pistachio, sweet almond pastry, and vanilla buttercream. We also have a cookie butter ice cream with warm cookie butter, gooey caramel, and sugared vanilla bean. We've got strawberry ice cream, pink strawberries, decadent cheesecake, and vanilla ice cream. We've got raspberry sorbet. That's a really lovely fragrance. I actually do recommend raspberry sorbet. That's got raspberry puree, chilled lemon, and vanilla swirl. And then orange cream sherbet is another candle, surprisingly, I actually really like from Goose Creek. Orange cream sherbet has scent notes of juicy orange, sugared peach, and creamy vanilla. And this whole collection might end up just being a pass for me, even though there's some fragrances in here I think I'd sort of like. It's not enough for me to place an order right now. I'm gonna have to see a little bit more summer action come out from Goose Creek probably before I go ahead and place another order. I like to make it worth my while when I have to pay the shipping and the extra duty and import fees. I usually don't order unless there's at least like 9 or 10 candles out there that I really want. So they haven't convinced me to place an order with this new collection. But when I do have an order coming up, raspberry sorbet, an orange cream sherbet, and pistachio ice cream might just find their way into my cart. I'll be interested to see what Tracy over at 3-Wick Thesis thinks of these, because she usually gets everything like right away and does really good early reviews of stuff. Speaking of Tracy from 3-Wick Thesis, everybody needs to go and watch one of the videos that she just put out. What did she call this video? Air quality research. Professor Tracy is in the house, folks, and all of us have to go to school. I honestly think that this is one of the most important and interesting videos that a candle YouTuber has put out in a very long time. Maybe put out ever. Tracy is a really smart cookie. She is a university professor. She got herself an air quality measurement device, and she just collected a whole bunch of data on what various types of candles, various types of wax, what various types of, melting and burning, like what that does to the air quality in your home. And I think that a lot of you guys will find the results very, 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 very interesting. I know that I did. I'm not going to paraphrase all of the findings because this is like Tracy's like hard research that she's done. I don't want to paraphrase everything that she has discovered in this video. I would love for you to go to her channel and watch this video. I think it's something that everybody that is burning candles on a regular basis should be watching, so I will link to it below. I will say that there were some very interesting points in here, particularly the stuff regarding what's the difference between air quality when it comes to 100% soy and paraffin or paraffin soy blends. Something that I found was really interesting was what she found from just wax melts, right? You would think that just simply melting wax melts might be the safest and least toxic route to go. Not entirely true. She debunks a lot of myths in here. Something that I really appreciated her talking about was all the fear mongering that gets done by the 100% soy wax companies and the 100% soy wax lovers out there. It's not so much that you can't have your opinion about the products that you love, but there's a lot of fear mongering that happens, and a lot of the actual candle companies are guilty of this, saying that other types of wax are toxic. Other types of wax have this and that and lead wicks in them. She debunks a lot of these myths in this video. And in fact, she can let us know 100% there actually are no toxic candles. There's no such thing as a toxic candle that is sold in North America. Lead wicks have not been getting used in candles since the 70s, and in a lot of cases, there is really no reason to believe that 100% soy wax is that much healthier than just burning a paraffin candle or a paraffin soy blend. Lots of really, really interesting stuff in this video, and I highly suggest that everybody checks it out. A lot of the stuff in here, honestly, was kind of stuff that I had kind of come to the conclusion on my own, just from my years of experience, like with candles and different candle companies and burning my own candles and reading between the lines on various things that you hear. But it's nice to really get it confirmed by Professor Tracy in a really straightforward and scientific way. This candle video, she should be getting thousands and thousands of views on this video, and I'm going to keep promoting it until she has thousands and thousands of views on this video, because she put a lot of work into this and it's very well done, very well researched. Everybody, it's time to go to class. Professor Tracy is in the house. I've got a feeling that she's one of those professors that would have really had a big impact on me, back in university. You know how there's those professors that just kind of stick with you for the rest of your life? I've got a feeling that she's one of those. I just love her. If you don't subscribe to 3-Wick Thesis, go and do that right now. Oh, I also have a burning question here. This burning question is from Deb in Denver. And she says, "Hi Greg, love your channel. Thanks for the smiles on my commutes. I was curious, what are your favorite candle holders from Bath & Body Works? I'd love to see your collection. I think that would be a really fun video. No pressure, just a suggestion." Deb from Denver. I love that. Deb from Denver. Hey, Deb from Denver. Thank you so much for viewing and for writing in. I should do a video of all of my candle holders and pedestals, because I do have a lot of them. I'm sorry, Deb. I'm just too lazy. It's really early in the morning here. I'm too lazy to dig around at the moment. Too lazy to dig around and find all of my candle pedestals, but I will commit to eventually getting that video out there. The problem is I've got so many candle holders and pedestals that I only ever actually keep half of them hanging out. When spring starts to get sprung, all of my Christmas decor, Christmas candle holders, all of that stuff gets put in storage, and then all of the spring and summer stuff comes out, and I make that switch 2 times a year, right? Once summer is over, I go into the storage and I pull out the Christmas tree and I pull out all of the fall and all of the winter candle holders and home decor and stuff like that. And so I'm really gonna try when summer is over, so it's gonna be a while from now, but when summer is over and I'm making that switch, I'm gonna try to round up all of my candle holders and pedestals and do a little video about what my favorites are, which ones don't work so well. But I do have 2 candle pedestals that are here, and they were super handy, and these are 2 of my very, very favorites from Bath & Body Works. I just love this one, this blue glass candle holder. I love it. I keep this out almost all year long. I use this really regularly. I think it looks great. Like no matter what type of 3-wick candle you put on this one, I always think that it looks fantastic. This blue glass, one of my very favorites from Bath and Body Works. I just think it's so chic and so pretty, and it catches the light so well, and it looks really good. I've got a lot of blues that are happening in my home, and so it looks really great, and it fits in no matter where I put it. So this is a candle pedestal that sort of stays out year round for me. And my other favorite one, I believe that they called this one like the cutout corner pedestal or something like that, and obviously it's not actual like marble, but it's got like a marble design on it and this gold like cut out corner. Ooh, you know, I could actually stand to give this one a little bit of a cleaning. How embarrassing. I really love this one. This one matches in my small bathroom. It matches the countertop almost identically. I mean, like identically. So this hangs out in my bathroom all the time. I usually only burn single wicks in the bathroom, but every once in a while I will do a 3-wick in there, and I'll pull this out of the cupboard in the bathroom and set it up, and it just looks so perfect in there. And once again, like no matter what kind of candle you put in here, it looks pretty good. Yeah, so these are like 2 of my very favorites from Bath and Body Works. I will say I really try not to buy the ones that light up anymore, as fun as they are. And I actually broke that rule on Halloween and at Christmas this year. At Christmas, I got that light up snowflake, and it's already like not working properly. I'm really not I'm trying not to buy any more of the ones that light up or have swirling glitter water globes. I'm trying not to buy those ones anymore because they are just so cheaply made. They almost always stop working and start to break down after about a year or so. And it's just not worth it. And then you've got to get the batteries, like, and you know, they don't super match very well necessarily with what I've got going on at my place. They're just so darn cute in the stores though. It's always so tempting to buy them. But for example, that snowflake one that we got last year, the most recent like light up snowflake pedestal, I used that for about 3 weeks. And then it started like dudding out on me. The candle pedestal is dudding out. Like the light just starts kind of flickering, and then it will flicker to a really dim thing. And then you go in and you play with the batteries and it will light up normally again. But after a little while, it'll start getting a little flickery again and then getting dim. It's not working properly. Same thing happened to that butterfly light up pedestal. And then all of the glitter globes, like all of those will eventually stop working on you. And you know, I just, for the prices that they charge, I mean, it's very rare I'll pay full price for one of those things. I usually wait. I usually don't buy candle holders and pedestals until they have like 40% off the entire store. You know how they do that sale once in a while? In fact, we might be getting that around Easter time. I feel like around Easter, there's usually a day where they do, or a weekend, well, they'll do like 40% off the entire store. That's when you want to snatch up your candle holders and your pedestals and whatnot. But anyways, yeah, so I think they do a pretty good job with some of the ones that are just like normal, but all of the ones that light up and swirling glitter, like I'm always really, really disappointed that they pretty much stop working so quickly. And it's just a waste of money, a waste of materials, a waste of plastic. They're all made in China. So from moving forward, I'm really trying to just buy like the solid ones that, you know, nothing can go wrong with them unless you break them, right? Like this one, I've got a feeling I'm gonna use this one until I'm an old man. I just love this one so much. Anyways, yes, Deb from Denver. I say all that to say that at the end of summer, when I'm doing my home decor in and out of storage switch, I'm gonna try to round up all of my candle pedestals, all of my candle holders, and do a video about it. And I will show you all of the swirling glitter ones and all of the light up ones that are like barely working anymore. So I'm gonna commit to doing that video at the beginning of fall, like the very end of summer here. I'm gonna get that video out because I do think that would be a fun idea. And Lord knows I've spent enough money on these things. Maybe if I make a video all about them, I'll be ready to let them go. I'll either give them away, take them to a charity shop or something like that, because I definitely need to like de-stash some of those candle holders for sure. Okay, what else did I want to talk to you guys about? Have you heard the brand new hit song that is just climbing up the charts and taking the world by storm? If you guys don't know, once a week, all of my buddies come over to watch RuPaul's Drag Race. And that's something that I've been doing for 14 years now. Ever since season 4 of RuPaul's Drag Race, I've been hosting weekly RuPaul's Drag Race parties. And we are on season 18 now. So yes, this has been a 14-year tradition in my friend group. But this week, a whole bunch of people couldn't make it. Even like my regulars like David, Teddy, they couldn't make it. It ended up just being me and Steve. And so me and Steve were catching up before Drag Race, us, having a little vodka cocktail, just talking about work and life and whatnot. And I was telling him that for work right now, I'm working on this podcast. I'm producing this podcast about human trafficking for work. Not a really fun subject matter, but it is what it is. So I was telling him about how this podcast is going and that I really needed to find some like original, like license-free music for the podcast, for like the intros and the outros and stuff. And I ended up just getting my AI assistant to come up with some music, some intro and outro music so that I'll own it, right? And he was like, no way that your AI just whipped that song up. And I was like, what do you want to make a song about? Let's test it out. And so we came up with this idea. We wanted a club banger, a pop club song all about Greg and Steve watching Drag Race tonight. Everybody else might have ditched us, but Greg and Steve are watching Drag Race tonight. And we just spoke a whole bunch of like random ideas for the lyrics. And then the AI asked me a couple of follow-up questions. We want it to be a hot pop club anthem, maybe like about 3.5 minutes long. We want verse, chorus. We want verse, pre-chorus, chorus, verse, pre-chorus, chorus, bridge, pre-chorus, chorus, like we want a real good banger of a pop song. And it whipped out this song, Greg and Steve watching Drag Race tonight. We couldn't believe it. We danced around for about a half hour listening to this song. It's taken the charts by storm, people. I posted a lyric video for it on Friday if you want to go check it out. Just thought it would be kind of a fun like Friday shenanigans to share with you guys. Really is kind of scary what AI can do these days. I mean, there is that AI artist who someone said in the comment section, there's this AI musical artist who apparently just signed like a $3 million record deal. Are me and Steve going to be next? Anyways, I also had a couple of people email me asking if I could send them the file so they could add it to their music library. And it just tickles. Me and Steve are just tickled pink at the thought that there are now some other people out there listening to this ridiculous song. It's a bop though. Like it is a kind of a legitimate bop. I'm not gonna lie. Like we absolutely love it. Let's see if I can get...
Friday night and the lights are low. TV glowing like a down in the screen. This little couch is a backstage dream. Greg and Steve watching Drag Race tonight. Laughing at the shade and the runway lights.
It's a bop. It is a bop, my friends. Anyways, yeah, if you want to be in the know, get yourselves on over to my lyric video for the new hit top 20 song, Greg and Steve watching Drag Race tonight. All right, we also need to get into the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, my friends. Come here, get close. Do you need to take a break? Have a bathroom break, grab a snack. We got to talk about these Real Housewives because things are finally starting to get a little bit more interesting. I mean, I have found this season very entertaining because these women, you know, they could just be reading the phone book and I would probably find it utterly fascinating because these women are just so interesting in Beverly Hills, but really not a lot is happening. And if it wasn't for this dumb Amanda girl, I don't think that we'd really have much to talk about because this Amanda girl has just managed to annoy everybody. She even got under Kathy Hilton's skin in the latest episode, and Kathy Hilton read her to filth, like read her to filth. So they are all on their way to Italy. They're all in Italy now at this beautiful villa. Bose has this friend that owns this incredible villa in Italy. And you know, she doesn't really tell us too much about who this friend is, but this villa in Italy is massive. It's really quite the sight. It's very, very captivating. And of course, you know, it shows them Bose, you know, kind of organized things so that all these groups of girls, they were all flying out separately. They are all flying out separately based off of who gets along with who. You know, so like Jennifer Tilly and Kathy Hilton flew out together last. And Dorit flew out with like Bose and Kyle. And so Bose is being very strategic about this. And she's like, I don't want anybody fighting until we're actually all together in Italy. So we're flying everybody out separately. Of course, Dorit is like late for the flight, late to meet the girls, but she does get there in time and makes it. So now they're all in Italy in this villa with nowhere to run. And they're all going to be forced. One of the things about the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills is that you can tell that a lot of them aren't actually friends with each other, right? So you can tell that a lot of them don't actually really hang out with each other when they're not filming, right? And so they're often, even when they are filming, they're often making excuses and doing things so that they don't all have to be together. But the producers must have been like, okay, we're gonna have something happen this season that's gonna get all of these bitches trapped together in the villa for the weekend so that we get something's gotta happen on tape here. We gotta get some drama. Y'all are getting locked up in a villa in Italy for the weekend. And, you know, Kyle is grumpy right from the get-go. So they are all at their villa in Italy and they're waiting for Dorit. They've got this evening planned. It's going to be a surprise. They're all sitting there. They're all ready to go. Dorit is upstairs and, you know, just having issues with her glam, having issues with her hair, having issues with this. Finally, Erica Jane is like, I'm going to go get her. I'm going to go get Dorit. You know, she's keeping us all waiting for the last time. I'm going up there to find her. So Erica Jane goes upstairs. Dorit, are you coming, girl? The group's waiting. Let's go. Let's kick it, Boots. Let's go. Dorit's like, I'm just not sure. Do you think that these earrings are the right earrings? I don't know. I haven't talked to PK. We're getting divorced right now. I haven't talked to PK and the kids. I hope the kids are okay and I hope my hair looks good. Erica's like, let's go, bitch. We got activities to do. So it turns out that this big secret, like, activity that they're going to do is, it turns out that there's this theater in the villa. Like, this villa is so villa-licious that there's not a movie theater, like a stage, like a theater for, like, plays. This villa has an old school theater. Now, I gotta tell you, those chairs, there were these pink chairs. I gotta tell you that these chairs didn't look particularly comfy, but still freaking fancy. Like, what the heck? This looks like a theater in the Louvre. This looks like a theater from, like, not the Louvre, but from, like, an Italian museum. Like, this is, like, legit. Erica Jane is so funny, too. Erica Jane is like, this isn't like one of those theaters where it's like, come over and, like, watch a movie. No, bitch. This is the type of theater where it's like, we're getting on stage and we're putting on a show. I love Erica Jane because when she's impressed by something, she just admits it. You know, she's not too good to act like nothing, you know, impresses her. If someone's got an amazing vintage bag, she says, I'm jealous of you, girl. I'm jealous of that bag. I'm jealous that these people have their own theater in their home. I don't even live in the charmed Girardi Palace anymore. I gotta live in my little bungalow all to myself. Anyways, so they all get led into this theater that's in the villa, and they're all listening to opera. Like, these two opera singers come on stage, and they're all sitting there. It's literally like, oh, oh, no. And they're all just like sitting there, like so captivated, except for one person, Amanda. Bose, it switches to Bose in her confessional, and she's like, opera is the height of culture. Watching an opera in a private theater is the height of privilege. Opera is the ultimate in a cultural experience. And some people in our group aren't all that cultured. It immediately switches to Amanda sitting there on her phone. While this opera is going on, even Erica Jane is like paying attention, you know. Even Erica Jane is like this. But that Amanda girl, nouveau riche, she's just like on her phone the entire time. Unbelievable. So disrespectful. So rude. And it's a smaller theater too. So obviously these performers up on the stage singing their hearts out, they're looking right out into the second row and they're seeing Amanda on her phone. She's probably taking care of business. She's probably got, you know, some sort of culty post to make on her Instagram page or something. Like, she helps people manifest things, is what Amanda does for a living. She writes books and then self-publishes them, and she has an online course that you can take for like $7,000 where you learn how to like journal and like manifest things. It's just like, it sounds like such a scam. It reminds me of Teddy Mellencamp, and like God bless Teddy Mellencamp, because she's going through some hard times right now. But Teddy Mellencamp was like an accountability coach, right? And so she'd text people like, have you done all of your squats today? What did you have for lunch? Text me a picture of your lunch. Oh, that's too many almonds. No, she basically, being an accountability coach, was just like texting people to make sure that they exercised and ate their healthy meals. And Amanda doesn't seem like she's much better than that, honestly. And so anyways, eventually this whole like theater experience comes to an end. And now they're all gonna go and sit down for a dinner together. I'm sure that this is going to go well. Before the dinner even starts, Amanda pulls Dorit aside because they've had this big beef with each other. They've really stretched this out into like 4 episodes now, Dorit versus Amanda, because I guess Amanda was like beaking off about Dorit. Amanda said to a bunch of the girls that she doesn't think that Dorit should be talking this publicly about the details of her divorce. Dorit caught wind of that and is just appalled that Amanda doesn't know her well enough to be able to comment on such matters. And so now Amanda pulls Dorit aside and is like, hey, before dinner, can we go and talk? And Dorit is like, I don't really want to. She's like, dinner's about to be served. Dinner's about to be served. She's like, Bose, do you know what time dinner is happening? Because Amanda here would like to pull me aside for a conversation, but I don't want to do anything that would interfere with dinner. And Bose is like, well, why don't you guys go and talk? If we can have your permission to, maybe start dinner without you if it takes a while. And Dorit is like, I don't want to miss dinner, so let's do this later. I don't want to miss dinner, not to have this conversation with you, Amanda. Absolutely not. So they all sit down for dinner, and everybody basically comes for Amanda. And this woman has it coming. Like, honestly, I feel kind of bad for her. I actually started to feel bad for Amanda about halfway through this dinner. She just doesn't fit in. You know, she just doesn't fit in with these women. They're just a different caliber, you know, and they've been in this reality TV show thing for a long time. Amanda seems to think that she doesn't need to get into some big nasty fights with people, but that's kind of what you got to do to be on this show. This show is all about conflict and resolution. And if you don't hash out the conflict, then you don't hash out the resolution, and we have no catharsis and we have no TV show. And it's very clear that Amanda does not understand the assignment, and it's annoying all of the other women because all of the other women are like, we're showing up for work here. You used to be in a cult. We need to hear about that. You own this business that a lot of the details of it are kind of up in the air. We need to hear about that. Why aren't you married to your husband yet? We need to know about that. Like, you know, sorry, Amanda, you're on the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. It's time to spill the beans. So they drill into her. They're like, tell us about this cult. We need to know about this cult. And so, you know, once again, Amanda is telling them about it, but it feels like she's not going there. She's not giving us this story that she wants. She's basically like, you know, I met up with these like pastors through my church. So it was one of those like churchy like God cults. You know, it wasn't like Scientology or like the Purple People or like any of those super weird like high profile cults. It just sounded like extreme, like an extreme Christian type of cult, right? Which kind of explains why she was in it for a couple of years and then she ran away. We're just all like, ugh, this is not a very juicy story. And then Amanda just keeps continuing to put her foot in her mouth and is trying to hash it out with Dorit until finally Kathy Hilton eventually just silences the room and says to Amanda, some people just need to read the room and know their place. Cut to America Jane in her confessional look being like, bitch, Kathy Hilton just told you that you better read the room and know your place. Oop, zip, whoop, oop. Just like, Kathy Hilton doesn't usually get involved like that and basically like tell somebody like, shut up and know your place. So Amanda comes away from all of this so inspired. She knows what her next book is going to be. Her next book is going to be all about escaping the cult. Well, girl, you're certainly going to have to tell a more compelling story in that book than you just told for us at the dinner table, because that was just not interesting at all. Really, like, you're really going to have to dig deep. You're really going to have to enhance some details here to make this a juicy book, because the way that you just told that story was not very juicy at all. It just sounded like some very overly possessive churchy people. Sounds like you were able to run away pretty easily. You know, not exactly the juice that we were looking for. Honestly, if it wasn't for the way that Erika Jayne was kind of narrating the show, this season in particular, Erika Jayne and her confessionals and her amazing looks, like, it really just feels like she's the narrator of the show, and it makes it so much more entertaining to hear her commentary and her blow-by-blow on all of these situations. Another one of my favorite things about this villa in Italy that they're all at is that there's like this glass elevator that none of them can figure out how to use. It always takes them down to the bottom floor, and then they get stuck and can't figure out how to get out of it. And there's like this huge stuffed polar bear right by the elevator. And so every time one of these women come down this glass elevator and they can't get out, and there's like this giant stuffed polar bear like staring at them like they're like they've trapped a Real Housewife in a cage. Honestly, this stupid glass elevator, it's been one of my favorite parts of the show. It's really been giving me the LOLs. So entertaining. Anyways, you guys, that's all I've got for you today. That was a lot. Even though I only had 2, 4, 6, even though I only had 7 candles to talk about, I have still managed to go on and on and on. If you have made it to this point in the video, I love you for watching. Thank you so much for joining me today. You all can follow me on Instagram at allaboutcandles and email me those burning questions to allaboutcandles@gmail.com. If you could hit me up with a like, a comment, subscribe to my channel, that would really mean the world to me. And until next time, my dear, gorgeous, and beautiful candle-loving friends. I'm doing the opera from The Real Housewives. La la la, la la la. Let's burn some candles and bitch about it. Thanks, guys. See you later. Bye for now.